Hey, how's it going today, everybody? I'm going to make an attempt to do this video as quickly as possible, but just to let you know, it's going to take a few minutes. I get questions all the time from customers about what gear do I need to do tree work? What gear do I need to climb? And it's a fair bit of gear, but what I'm going to go over is in this one bag is, in my opinion, the baseline set of PPE. PPE is personal protective equipment that you need to safely accomplish the task of doing tree work in arboriculture. So let's PPE, personal protective equipment. We all know, or think we know, that obviously that's going to mean head protection, so a helmet, eye protection, ear protection, and chainsaw protection, and/or gloves. I'm a big fan of gloves. That's factual. That's true. But also, it's all of, by definition, it's all of the equipment we need to work safely at height. So that's our harness, that's our connectors, that's our work positioning lanyards, that's our anchorage systems, and that's our rope systems. So in addition to spurs and etc. So I'm going to go over some gear in here. So obviously, first out of the gate, and there'll be some things in this bag that I won't really cover just because it's extra stuff, but going to need a helmet, okay? Visor's optional. It's handy, gives us some additional protection. I like a visor because if I'm wearing my clear prescription glasses, I can wear a smoke visor, and technically I have some UV protection from the sun and I can actually see. Chin strap, okay? A nice loud whistle. It's worth the $5, right? It's an excellent emergency communication device. So let's go over, we got to get our climbing line in the tree. Well, obviously, we're going to need a throw line kit, all right? One of the reasons I like the Petzl setup is this one bag allows me to have 2 throw line kits in here, right? We've got to have a way to install our climbing line into the tree. Throw line is a climber and ground person's best friend. All right, so minimum 2 throw line kits. The old saying, 1 is none, 2 is 1, is accurate in this case, right? A set of rings is a tree climber's best friend. Steel, aluminum, adjustable, what have you. Having a set of rings is really critical. If we're doing removals of trees, at some point, regardless of your opinion, you're going to need a set of spurs, okay? Out here in the West, where we're working central leader trees, yeah, spurs are 100% mandatory. You might as well put them on from the outset, get going on it. Here on this particular bag, it stores my spurs. Let's talk about spurs for a minute, okay? I've got a set of aluminum hybrid length Gaffs. You don't have to have aluminum. It's really nice because it's lighter. That's less weight that you're lifting up with your legs to spur back into the tree. These Velcro cushion wrap pads are super comfortable, but basically any pad that has, kind of hard to see here, but I'll try to get it close, that has the steel insert, okay, is what you want. Because right there, that's how that spur is on my leg. It has the spur oriented in the direction it wants to go anyway. It's your best bet. It's the way to go. So, Flipline, work positioning lanyard. The term buck strap I don't really like anymore because that kind of more aptly applies to utility lineman type of work. But we've got 2 options when it comes to work positioning lanyards and/or flip lines, whatever you want to call it. Okay. They both have some commonalities. So, if we're doing line clearance work, we can't use, Jesus Christ, I could have tangled this up more. We got it. Wire core lanyard, most commonly, particularly here in the West, we're going to have a mechanical rope grab, all right? Because it doesn't care about sap. People think that these wire core lanyards are going to give you some cut protection. That's inaccurate, right? That's not really the case. The reason that wire core lanyards exist is when you are truly on a large diameter stem, and when I say large diameter, I'm talking over 3 feet, right? 4 feet, 5 feet, 6 feet, 7 feet, 8 feet, 9 feet. You're not going to be able to flip your lanyard up. You actually have to roll a loop. The stiffer lay of this lanyard is going to facilitate that, okay? Clearly you can't use this around electrical conductors. The only time I use a wire core lanyard is when I'm on stems that are of a larger diameter. Otherwise, I'm using a rope lanyard, either with the snap or a carabiner on the end, and then commonly with a prusik and a slack tending pulley for my adjustment mechanism. That gives me two great options. One, it's a great work positioning lanyard. It's lightweight. I can use it as a rescue connection, but also I can use it as a short moving rope system, all right? Okay, so we've thrown a throw line in, so we've got our climbing line installed. Clearly we need a climbing line, okay? If you're gonna move back and forth between stationary rope technique and moving rope systems, a splice die is key. Can you tie a knot? Yes, you can. But with some of our more high-speed, high-end setups, that bulky termination knot is going to either A, interfere with the function of your prusik or interfere with the function of your mechanical device. Huge fan of the rope wrench system. So I've got rope wrench, stiff tether, connecting carabiner, another carabiner that's going to go to the termination of my harness, slack tending pulley, and then obviously prusik. The spare carabiner is here for when I switch to a moving rope configuration, right? Huge fan of the rope wrench system. There is no such term in my mind as the best. It's what works the most optimal for you as the operator, right? So there's my climbing system combined with my rope. This particular rope has attributes that work very well for moving rope systems and also stationary rope systems. Okay, so we've covered, need a set of spurs, we're doing removals. If you're doing big removals, you want to have that wire core flip line, work positioning lanyard, otherwise a rope work positioning lanyard with a slack tending pulley and prusik is an optimal way to go. Spurs of your choice. So let's get down. Clearly, another portion of our PPE, we have to have a harness, okay? And I'm not going to cover everything that I have hanging on my harness, but these are the minimal things that you want to have on your harness, okay? So something that lives on my harness always and forever, and I know people are going to give me grief on this, correctly configured, this sling is safe, right? I have a locking carabiner on that. I have a small throw weight. So if I set my climbing system at 75 feet in 180 foot tall Doug fir, clearly to get up to where I need to actually do things, I'm going to have to advance my climbing system. Something like this little throw weight on the end of your climbing line or the end of your lanyard makes it much easier to reposition your system up above you, whether you can throw it up 5 feet, 15 feet, what have you. Okay? Always, no matter what, I'm going to have an HMS shaped carabiner and a ring. Okay? I can do a variety of things with this. With this carabiner, I can add friction to a rescue system with a Munter hitch. Or I can use this ring as a stitch plate. I can also use this ring as a canopy anchor, right? So invaluable for the weight that they provide hanging on your harness. You're going to want to have a couple of accessory carabiners, and we'll come back to that in a second, all right? Some type of pulley hanging on your harness. In my opinion, this is the slickest setup. It's non-locking because where I'm going to use this is not in a critical application. It's usually used as a change of direction right? So we're good to go with it being a single stage opening carabiner. But I'm gonna have a roll clip. You could have the DMM version of this hanging on your harness. You wanna have that going, okay? ANSI states this, common sense states this. We wanna have a way that when we're working, we have our work positioning lanyard, we're tied in twice. One of those systems will get you to the ground and allow vertical movement, whether it's up, down, and also horizontal movement. But another thing that you want to have in your harness is a little minimalist IFAK, okay? On my particular one, I have the information written on there. Hopefully you can see this. A positive is my blood type, no known drug allergies. That way if I get jammed up, they're gonna know what to do when, you know, as far as the paramedics when I get on the ground. In this, one of our major concerns, something we can address in the canopy, is bleeding control. So I've got a pressure dressing. Got my rubber gloves. I've got my scissors with which to expose, and I've got my rat's tourniquet, okay? So having that on your harness is invaluable. If I come up to rescue you, I'm gonna be going for your kit before I go for mine, all right? Now let's talk about harnesses. Again, I don't like best or whatever, but one of the most important investment decisions that you're gonna make is your harness. Get the most comfortable harness that you can possibly afford. Certainly when you're starting out, you'll find ones that you like. I'm a huge fan of the Petzl Sequoia, but there's a lot of good harnesses out there. You want a leg loop harness, and you want floating bridge, okay? Whether it's one or two, I like two for a variety of reasons. It's not redundancy, it's for separating systems. Oftentimes it's advantageous to have some type of separate connector on your bridge or on one of your bridges. I'm a big fan of a ring. Something like the DMM axis swivel is a great option as well. But we're gonna need a harness, okay? So we've covered Spurs, friction savers, climbing system, fro line, helmet, positioning lanyards, and harness, right? So are there more things that you absolutely need? No, you could get by with just this kit. There are going to be more things that you want. So let's talk moving rope configuration. That's easy. You need a rope, optimally a splice die, a friction hitch, 2 carabiners, and a slack tending pulley. But now when we get into our stationary rope systems, okay, where this setup that I showed you works in both configurations, we're going to need a way to propel ourselves up the rope. All right, again, not using that term the best, the most efficient method is, as we've advanced in arboriculture and tree climbing systems, is our Ropewalker systems. That consists of the hybrid device of your choosing. Here I chose the rope wrench system. That's going to function as my chest descender on ascent. It's going to function as my descent control device when I'm going down. And when I need to stop and perform a task, it's going to function as my work positioning device, right? It covers all three. On my way up, the most efficient way for me to go upwards, is to drive up with my legs. I'm going to need a foot ascender for that, all right? I'm just grabbed my Ninja here just to show you. And then on my other leg, I'm going to have a floating knee ascender. Now this is one where I'm going to backstep a little bit on my term the best. There's only one option in my mind, and that's the Saka. Hands down, it performs the best. So with those two devices, that allows me just to literally walk up the rope, just like it sounds. Now what you're going to need to complete a Ropewalker system is some type of chest harness. It goes back to that micro carabiner. That's what I'm going to tow as I'm walking up the rope. That's what tows my rope wrench system as I go up the rope. Okay, so should we have extra climbing systems? Yeah. I like that idea, but you could also use the tail of your rope and tie a Blake's hitch, and you can create a second climbing system on the back side of your rope. Now, there's lots of other things that you could have in your kit, but this is the minimum amount of gear that you need to climb trees for a living, if you're going to do this for a living. And then let's just wrap this video up real quick. Hopefully I haven't tied up too much of your time. We're under 20 minutes. So you want to get into tree climbing, whether it's recreationally or as a profession. Number one, get some training and get hands-on training. Ascension Group does great training. Nats does good training. ArborMaster does good training. Going to the climbing competitions will expose you to literally the upper level climbers in your region or in your country. Okay? Get training. There is no substitute for training. There's two things that a human being can be: trained and untrained. You have to decide what you want to be. I prefer being trained. Okay? Thank you so much and have a great day. This is from WesSpur's Tree Equipment and Ascension Group Northwest.